Hi, everyone. Welcome to Stream Horse TV. We have a very special guest with us, Jocelyn Brooks, Director of Sales for Airdrie Stud and competitor in the upcoming Kentucky leg of the Real Rider Cup on her off-track thoroughbred, Perpetual Optimism. I am so thrilled to be welcoming you here.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
This is so fun to get to talk to you about this. I know it's a great passion of yours. For starters, just tell me, how did you get into horses in the first place?
I was the typical little girl that wanted to ride a horse, and both of my parents being native New York City, we were like, where did this come from? Who are you? We don't know where to find you a horse to ride. And we had moved to Maryland when I was very young. And I asked every day about taking a riding lesson. And I was fortunate enough that they found a wonderful place. And I got my one lesson a week. It was $17. And those were the days. And it was, that was a lot to be able to take me to my weekly lesson. And that was the only thing I wanted to do. I gave up all other sports. And as I got a little bit older, I was probably 9 when I started, I got to just do what any horse crazy kid gets to do and spend the whole day at the barn and helping out cleaning horses and helping out in lessons for littler kids and getting to ride extra for getting to be there. So I just was one of those kids that was just born with a love of horses. And my trainer growing up was very interested in racing too, which I think is not super common. And we had, of course, the Preakness in Baltimore every year. So at least I had this awareness of racing, and we would talk about the Preakness horses every year, watch the Derby, see who was coming to Baltimore. So, even early on, I knew about the sport and was just so intrigued by it and loved that at the Preakness, you'd get to hear all the backstories about the horses and about the riders and about the trainers. So even at a young age, I wanted to know everything I could about the individuals, the stories, which is the best part of the sport, really. So that's I just had the horse bug my whole life.
And your career brought you eventually to historic Sagamore Farm, where you ran their Next Move program for retired horses and did a ton of other things like hospitality. So tell me how you got there and how you came to meet your horse.
I got very lucky. I was looking around. I loved my job, but I was just looking for something different. And I asked a friend of mine if she knew of anything. And she worked for Under Armour. And she said, I don't right now, but I'll let you know. And the same day she got asked if she knew anyone that would be good to work at Sagamore supporting the new president of the farm. And she said, actually, I do. So I got, like I said, very lucky. This was 2015 and I got the job, and I had a friend that rode there. And it was just a dream come true, really, to go to that historic, beautiful farm. And, we had racehorses, we had broodmares, we had foals, and they were so kind in teaching me everything I wanted to learn about the sport that I didn't know. When I lost my first thoroughbred, my first horse that I finally got in my 30s, I'd only been asking my whole life, he had colicked and it was very sudden and I was devastated. And they said, we have this horse, Perpetual Optimism, that's 4 and he's been turned out for a while. He's probably ready to do something. We can send him over to Nuno, my trainer, Nuno Santos, who's just from the thoroughbred world and a sport horse trainer now. Why don't we send him to Nuno? He can get him going and you can have a horse to visit every day and spend time with. So I never thought he'd become my horse. And it was fun. Nuno had ridden First Defense in his Juddmonte years. So P.O. being the finest son of First Defense, I always say. He came into training with Nuno, and I did. That loss of being able to go to the barn every day and see my horse, I had another horse to visit. And it was great because I wound up just being that person that was grazing him and pampering him and bothering him all day while Nuno taught him how to be a reasonable citizen. And he was a beautiful mover, and we knew he had a lot of talent. And slowly but surely I got a little attached, and Sagamore sold him to me for $1. And Colin Powell actually gave him his name, which is an unbelievable claim to fame. But I think they called him the General when he was a racehorse, which is kind of cute. So
because of Colin Powell.
Yeah. And he was 4. So I probably didn't really get to riding him till he was 5, and he's 10 now. So I can't believe I've had him that long, but he's my best bud.
And he will be making his 3rd appearance at the Real Rider Cup. So let's talk about the Real Rider Cup.
I think everyone in the sport is passionate about aftercare, and I always have been. And I've been fortunate that both at Sagamore and here at Airdrie, aftercare and making sure that we do right by our horses is a huge focus. And I don't think I'd want it any other way. It's great to be on a team where you know that when no one's looking, you're trying to do the right thing every day for your horses. The Real Rider Cup not only shines a light on that and says, hey, these are all retired thoroughbreds now in their new careers, which you can't show people enough how versatile they are. You know, you go to a thoroughbred show or the makeover at the end of the year and you look around and there's every shape and size of thoroughbred, every color, doing every discipline. And I just don't think that narrative can be put out there enough, that these horses, they are also different and they're also gifted in different ways. They're so smart and they love to learn and they love their jobs. They just seem to improve every day. And then you'll think you finally know what you're doing with them, and then they'll regress and you'll be like, wait, I thought I finally had you where I wanted you. But I think the process of getting to know your horse and seeing these improvements and as a team getting better is the most fun part, which is what all of us want. That's why we want to have a horse. You know, we want to have that great partnership. There's a lot of great events to raise money for retirees. There's auctions and there's galas and there's all of these things, but the actual events that have the horses there right in front of you for you to see them, hear their stories. I think it's so powerful and it's way more fun. Anita dreamed up a really, really cool thing. And then not only has made it happen, but it's continued through COVID. And then it's just continuing to get bigger and better. So this will be my first year doing it in Lexington. So I'm very excited about that. Anyone can donate. Anyone can share the link. Anyone can, look at the roster of riders, see if you recognize some horses or some people on there and say, oh my gosh, I didn't realize they were doing it. Donate $10 if you can, donate one week of Starbucks coffee if you can. Being any little part of it makes it special. It's just making this a community thing. And then as far as coming and actually being there that day, I think that sometimes it's wonderful. Of course, they need the donations of advertisers and supporters. And I'm so proud that Airdrie has decided to be, the champion title sponsor and also let me wear their silk. So I'm very proud of that, but I'm very proud as an employee of Airdrie, and a lot of our teammates are coming to the Real Rider Cup. They want to see it. They want to be there. They want to be part of this conversation. It is welcoming to everyone. And if you love a thoroughbred, then, you're part of this group and we want you there. And it's all for horses. So, if you love horses, it's like a family. That's the only qualification. You just have to love horses and care about them and want to have a really good time supporting them.